You open this door with the key of reason. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of truth. A dimension of freedom. A dimension of joy. You're moving into the land of both the ideal and the real, of the possible and the actual. You've just crossed over into the capitalist corner.
Where reason meets reality, welcome to the capitalist corner.
Right, folks, where reason meets reality. Welcome to the Capitalist Corner. I am your host, Mark Pellegrino, and also the chairman of the American Capitalist Party, along with my co-host and vice chair of the American Capitalist Party, Michael Liebowitz, who is also the host of The Rational Egoist, the type of ethics we are trying to bring to the world to save it from itself. Michael, what's going on in The Rational Egoist? Tell us.
Oh, well, I still got the episode out there with Kaya Willis. That's a great episode. I don't know if anybody got to catch my debate last night on the Capitalist Corner. Persephone has made a separate section just for debates on the Capitalist Corner website. So that's an awesome thing. Nice.
Check that out, folks. You should check that out.
And I've got a lot of chaos going on in my life today. So
chaos can be good. I have to give our typical disclaimer before we go on, Michael, that this show is not affiliated with the American Capitalist Party. If you want to know what the American Capitalist Party is all about, please go to americancapitalistparty.org, read the policies, and become a part of the change. Today's Q&A day, right? We're on Friday. This is Friday, right? Okay. Well, I lose track of time sometimes.
Did you see the title of the show today?
No, of course not. No, let me tell you what I do. I wake up in the morning. I do 50,000 chores while I'm reading the articles that you've sent me.
You definitely don't comb your hair.
And I don't comb my hair. As you can see, I just wake up and do this. I do all that stuff, and I never actually look at the title of what is the title today?
Time for questions.
Okay. But we have some good articles, too, that I want to get to. I think one or two are very, very vital. Also, I should remind people that tomorrow we're going to be doing Self-Made Soul. We're also going to be doing a deep dive into that Jacobin article that is basically about socialism, and we're going to talk about it, I think, in terms that anybody who doesn't follow economics too much will be able to understand what we're talking about. So please join us for that. You may think it's going to be boring, but it's going to be fire, folks. And then we've got a Q&A, I think, after that.
And we got super chats. Don't forget the super chats.
We got super chats going on, folks. So please use the super chat. I don't know. Is it a button or however you do super chats? Use the super chat thing.
What do you mean a button? Do you think there's a special button on the computer for super chat?
No, it's just like a thing. Like a thing an option. You know what I mean? That they pick online.
I think it's a tab. Is it a tab, Persephone?
Is it a tab? Use the tab, really, folks. And also,
what is it? What is it?
If
it's not a tab and it's not a button,
it's a thing. It's just a thing. We can say it's just a thing. It's a button. It's a button.
It's not a button.
Persephone just said it's a button.
I don't think she did.
It says in the private chat, button.
It's not a button, Persephone.
I don't want to reveal too much of we already, every show, Michael, we prove to the world that we are boomer adjacent, even though we're not boomers. I'm not a boomer, guys. And he's not a boomer.
But he plays one on TV.
I play one on TV, as you can tell by my hair. And I act like a boomer some of the times. Michael, is there a question that you want to take? I think I see a couple of questions up there. But, of course, the print is too small for me to read. If you don't see one that you feel like answering right now, I hope that was a cough or not a sneeze. If it's a sneeze, Dad bless you. We have an article here that I want to deal with
I'm going to look this up. You address that. I'm going to find out what you call the super chat thing on YouTube.
Folks, I don't know if many of you probably saw this. It's dominated the news cycle. A bunch of Democrats who had military backgrounds did a video basically encouraging people in the intelligence community and people in the military community to disobey unlawful orders. Of course, Caroline Leavitt then said in a press conference that they were requesting to disobey lawful orders. And the president, of course, chimed in on Truth Social with his usual, I guess, Michael, I would call it class, diplomacy, foresight, all the things.
Found out what it is.
All the things that we expect. Don't fuck up my flow right now. All the things that all the things that we expect from the highest diplomat in the land. Well, Trump responded with his usual subtlety by basically accusing those people who made that video of treason and suggesting that they be tried for treason and put to death. Now, he didn't say literally put them to death. He did say that treason is a death penalty offense. I'm also paraphrasing, folks. This is frightening language coming from the chief executive. And Michael, I can't think of any president in my lifetime, and my lifetime has been more extensive than yours and more extensive than some of the people in this chat. I've been through more presidents than lots of people, and I don't recall any president, no matter how badly I disagreed with him, no matter how awful his economic and political and foreign policies were, who has ever said something like this before. Can you remember this?
No,
anything like this?
No, I've been saying for quite some time that this guy is a total dick, that he's worse than other presidents, and people so, they're all bad, which is to me, okay, yes, they're all bad. In the same way that getting kicked in the shin and getting kicked in the nuts are both bad, please kick me in the shin. You know what I mean? So this Donald Trump is the presidential equivalent of a kick in the nuts.
He is really, but Michael, there's a thing that I think, I don't know if it's been labeled this way yet. Maybe I'm making this label up. I'm the first person to do it. There's a Trump effect out there now in politics that's raising up the lowest of the low. The people who have, I think, the worst, not only the worst takes on things, but the worst way of expressing the worst takes on things, the crudest, the crassest. They seem to grab the headlines. What's her name? The congresswoman from Texas, who's grabbing the headlines now, and everybody on the left seems to be considering her as a possible leadership role for the Democratic Party. And all she does is shit talk. That's what politics is becoming now. Who can shit talk the other side the worst in the lowest possible way? Michael, there were people in Congress at one time, Daniel Webster being one, who were noted orators. These were people who loved language and used language in a beautiful way. Where has that gone? That's a question to you. I know you're looking at something else and not paying attention to what
I wasn't paying attention at all. We have nothing.
What's that?
We have nothing. Well, not you and me have nothing. I mean, this country. The politicians suck. The president sucks. The citizenry seems to suck because they keep going for it. I know for sure a lot of the people on Twitter suck. I'm in a mood, let's say. Can I say, put it out there? I'm in a mood.
Again?
Still.
So this has just been an ongoing mood for the past week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what? I don't know how to respond to that. The problem here for me is Robert is giving all kinds of money, $5 and $5, or maybe just $5 once, but it says twice. I don't know what that means.
Thank you, Robert.
But he did it. Robert's a wonderful guy, Robert Naser. But no, I mean, you remember, and we haven't stuck to it, saying something positive at the end of the show. We tried to, but I get up, I read the news, and it's just all crap. Then I get up and I go to X, and it's a lot of crap. I try to deal in friendly debates with people, and it turns into illogical crap. And I don't know how to sort of, how do you stay positive about that? I'm always happy. Don't get me wrong. I could be grumpy and happy. I mean, I know that may seem impossible, but it's not. I'm generally a happy guy. I'm cheerful. Maybe the word is impatient.
You know what? Maybe it's pessimistic, Michael, because what you see is an increasingly irrational society that's giving in to more irrationalism, while the people who are thinking about things and actually have decent solutions for things are being marginalized and sidelined and deplatformed. Especially when you fight back, you're being deplatformed, essentially. So, I mean, that's sort of a discouraging thing, and it's something to be pessimistic about. But I think what we could have in our favor is the ability to pivot, right? The ability to just continue on, keep our message going in some other way. Now, I don't know if is Deeper with Diego asking this question of you. If I remember correctly, you said you have been studying objectivism for 30 years, but
No,
is that for me?
no, that was to Robert.
Oh, that was to Robert. Oh, so he asked Robert Nasser a question but it's in our private chat, so I was assuming it was to
because Persephone put it in the private chat.
Yeah.
See, this is amazing to me.
I'd be interested.
This is amazing. Look at this. Let's just examine what's happening right now. I've had a very aggravating morning. I'm also dealing with something online, and I'm paying attention here and know what's happening in the chat.
You're not really paying attention here. Paying attention here is listening.
And how do I know what happened in the chat?
Let me give you a because you're paying attention to the chat as opposed to listening to me. I'm looking at the chat when there's a pause in the conversation. That's the way normal people do things. Normal people meaning
what? What do you mean normal people?
People who respect others.
Normal people are not looking at the chat. Okay, let's get to the thing.
No, but I'm very interested in Robert's answer to this question too. So maybe he can post it, and maybe it's already posted in the chat, and I'm just not looking at it. He studied it for 30 years, but he didn't call himself an objectivist until roughly a year ago, if his recollection is true. So what was the tipping point that helped him to come to the conclusion that, yeah, I'm an objectivist? I think that's an interesting question, not only for Robert, because I want to know his answer, but maybe for you and for me as well. I mean, was there a tipping point for you, Michael, when you could actually call yourself an objectivist, right? I mean, there had to be a time at which you were sort of in that in-between phase where you were still accepting bad values or still practicing bad values.
I have a perfect answer for this.
Go ahead.
I actually did not call myself an objectivist. I simply said I was a disciple of Ayn Rand. I didn't care to get into an argument with anybody about whether I'm an objectivist, whether I'm not, because I do have differences with Ayn Rand on some things, philosophical things, not fundamentals. But we got a sticker. Is that a sticker, Persephone, up top from Rock Chartrand?
Thank you, Rockstar.
Thank you, Rockstar, for the. I think it's a sticker. Super sticker.
I retweeted you as usual. You said brilliant things today, so I had to.
Okay. So anyway, I didn't call myself an objectivist, and then Jim Valiant convinced me that I should, in fact, call myself an objectivist. And he could, I found his argument convincing. I don't really remember what it was, but I nevertheless found it convincing. And so that's it. I don't.
So was that over the last couple of years then?
That's maybe 2 years ago. But I'm not attached to the label, right? I know what I think. I know what I believe. I know the conclusions that I've come to. If somebody wants to say, well, then you're not an objectivist, I really don't care. I called myself a libertarian for more than 20 years because I broadly adhered to the idea that the purpose of government is to protect the rights of people. People should be free to do whatever they want as long as they don't violate the rights of others. So, that's basic libertarianism. I stopped that because I didn't want to be associated with, a lot of the people that are in the libertarian camp. And by the way, if it got to that point with where the real dickheads who call themselves objectivists were really ascendant, I would just say I don't want to be associated with that either. I'm far more convinced with truth than I am with the label.
I agree with you too. And for me, I think the change happened maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. I mean, that's when I could call myself an objectivist. But like you, I call myself an objectivist for the purposes of convenience because it enables people to understand basically what I think is so and how I see the universe and how I see our place in it. But likewise, I can't even call myself a disciple in the sense that I'm not a follower of. I'm not a follower of Rand. She's influenced my thinking very, very deeply. But I don't treat her as a god. I treat her as somebody who was a gifted genius who gave me some of the tools that I use to make my life better. And I really appreciate her for that. I don't worship her, though. I think she's great. I think she's a hero. Honestly, I have considered her like a Frederick Douglass, a second founder, right? A new generation of founders who clarified the ideas that the founders gave us in moral terms, in terms that everyone could really understand. And in that respect, advanced the American Revolution that much further if people took her seriously en masse, which unfortunately is not the case. Is
that how that's pronounced?
Persephone, is that how
en masse? I always say en masse, but I might be wrong. Jim says correctly, an objectivist cannot treat her like a guru. I agree, and I really hate, like, when you're having a discussion with somebody, and it's not about what objectivism is. It's just a discussion about anything, and they come out and say, well, Ayn Rand said. Yeah. Especially when people say that to me, like I don't know what she said, it like makes my head explode.
Dude, it's like when you get in arguments with Marxists and they're quoting Marx like it's scripture. It's like, dude.
Persephone laughed. You thought the same thing I did, Persephone, when he said that. It's like getting into an argument with Mark.
What? What?
You said it's like arguing with Mark.
No. Like arguing with people with Marxists, man, because they quote Marx like scripture. And when I think about the difference between a bad philosopher like Marx and a good philosopher like Rand, you don't quote them like scripture. You digest her concepts and you make them your own, and that's a very, very different thing. Gary Menard, thank you very much for the $4.99. Daniel Webster couldn't compete in the current orange WWF. Agreed. Dominated style of U.S. politics. Sadly, you're right. He's too conceptual. He's too deep. People can't connect the dots the way they used to. And that's unfortunate because the age of these great men who practiced rhetoric, who could, like even Alexander Hamilton, who's sort of an enemy to me politically, but the guy could get up there and speak extemporaneously and beautifully and with depth in a way that nobody could today. Thank you very much, Robert, for the $2. What did it say? You flipped it off before I had a chance to read it.
It says, do a super chat. All the cool kids are doing it. He's right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for advertising.
I got to tell you, though,
we got to have him on here.
Yeah, he's supposed to moderate the debate between Jim and I. Jim and I got to do so much stuff. Like, my head is going to explode. I've got so much to do.
Don't do it here, though. It's messy. If your head explodes, it's going to be messy.
I'm sorry that I'm distracted today, by the way, although I must say I would imagine much of the audience finds it humorous.
Well, you would imagine that, unfortunately.
Oh, I want to Persephone, can I send you a post from X and you post it to the screen here? All right, I'm going to do that. Mark, you give him something.
I want you to answer a question while you're doing that, Michael, since you seem to be able to do 17 things at once. Jenna says, what butterfly wing effect could we anticipate from the recent food SNAP delay cut? What butterfly effect do you think we could anticipate from the recent delay and cut?
I really don't know. I read that question earlier. And Nicole Hingle is now giving us $2.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, I really don't know the answer to that. I often don't, and I really don't like to make predictions because of a simple fact. Human beings have free will, and it's very difficult to assess how they're going to respond to things like that. I tend to think it's going to be a nothing burger, but I could be wrong.
Well, there seems to be some political effect of desiring to reassess the SNAP benefits and make people reapply for those benefits and change the eligibility requirements so that the people who can work will work, and et cetera, et cetera. So there are some potential improvements. I don't know what kinds of dislocations that's going to cause later on down the line. But Michael, it showed me how horrible it is to leave your moral agency with the government, because for political purposes, they play with you. They use you as leverage. Your life becomes leverage to a politician and a bureaucrat in Washington, D.C., the more of it you give over to them. And so I would encourage anybody, if at all possible, to stay away from that stuff. It doesn't increase your dignity to get material things from other people. It increases your dignity to be self-sufficient. That's what increases your dignity. And that's where the left is wrong. And that's where the right is wrong, because they both think that by giving people stuff, you're going to make them happy. And you don't. You don't. And oftentimes you embed, I think, very unhealthy habits in people. There's McDougall said up here, according to Shawshank, adjustments to life out of prison is very hard. How is your experience, Mike, adjusting to life out of prison?
My experience, I've been fine. But in fairness, I had an incredible support system just coming out of prison. So a lot of people don't have that. I also didn't spend my time in prison, playing video games and checkers. I spent my time learning so that I was prepared for when I got out. So for me, it was, I think I've adjusted just fine. A lot of people know. I want to play my video. Can I play my video, Mark? Do you mind?
Go ahead. Let's see.
This is me at the Soho Forum asking the question. The setup was they were debating affirmative action. And this guy was Jason Riley's position was that after the Civil Rights Act and whatnot, the Black economic growth actually slowed compared to before the Civil Rights Act and all the policies enacted to do something. So this guy says, well, just the fact that they felt the need to do something shows there was a problem. So this was my question when I got a chance.
Ask a question, and no need to identify who you are.
Okay, my question is for Professor Freimer. So you basically said that the fact that the government felt the need to enact these policies in the 60s was evidence that something needed to be done. But that same government felt the need to accelerate involvement in Vietnam. In the 70s, they felt the need to enact price controls. In the 80s, they revved up the war on drugs. And in 2003, they felt the need to invade Iraq. So my question is twofold. One, how is the government feeling a need to do something, evidence that something needs to be done? And two, what evidence do you have that even if there is something that needs to be done, that whatever policy they have to enact is actually going to achieve the result that they're aiming for?
Well,
great question. And touche.
Yes. Michael, the vice chair of the American Capitalist Party, delivering the knockout punch.
The answer can be seen if you go watch the debate on YouTube. The problem was Subby recorded his whole answer, but he couldn't send it to me on my phone because it was too long. Suffice it to say, he really didn't answer the question.
Well, how could he? It was a fairly seamless knockout. So Deeper with Diego did say that he asked you that question. It wasn't to Robert, just so you know. Unless I'm not following the thread properly.
Oh, well, that's fine. Well, because it wouldn't, I assumed it was Robert because it wouldn't make sense as applied to me because I haven't been studying objectivism for 30 years. If that were the case, I'd have been studying objective, huh?
I guess you assume that your entire time in prison was taken up studying objectivism, which is
even if it were, it wouldn't be 30 years.
How long have you been out?
I've been out 3 years.
3 years.
I did 25 years in.
28 years altogether, so close to 30. I mean, you round it off. You can round it off.
I don't want to round it off.
I know you do.
Round it off.
What does it mean to be an objectivist, Michael?
I mean, the simple answer is someone that adheres to the philosophy of objectivism, right? But then the question, of course, can be asked, well, how much do you have to adhere to? I can answer what my positions are. Where I differ with Ayn Rand is on some definitions and some formulations, but in terms of fundamentals and overall conclusions of her philosophy, meaning her philosophical writings, those that are in Philosophy Who Needs It, Atlas Shrugged, Virtuous Selfishness, and of course, Opar. I agree with all the fundamentals. I have slight differences, for instance, on whether the word selfish is the best word to use to describe the ethic that she pronounced, that she put forth.
What would you use instead? Egoism?
Self-interest, egoism, self-interest.
I always say rational selfishness instead of selfishness because of its terrible connotations today.
Yeah, and it's also what the word has always meant. Now, Jim Valiant, of course, will come in and say, well, but you can't just go by the dictionary. You have to conceptualize for yourself. And I don't disagree. The problem is this. If I say, for instance, Mark Pellegrino has brown hair, right now, brown hair.
You mean the way you've said that I have red hair?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay. Let's use that because I've lied. I've lied and said you had red hair, right? So now we all know what red is because it's a concept that has been, gone around. So now if I come and say, no, I'm going to reconceptualize it or use it differently, and then I explain the way I'm using it, it becomes a problem because now I'm not actually saying what I've claimed I was saying. So if I say selfishness is a virtue and I can go back 300 years of how people have used the term selfish and it's not the way that I'm using it, well, then I'm making a different argument. So and especially when the traditional use of the word selfishness is somebody who tries to act in their own best interest without regard for others. Right. There are people that do that. So it is a legitimate concept.
I think there is one in office now who does that. I think he
right now he doesn't actually act in his own interest. But the point is that there are people that do that. Yeah. So I don't.
Whenever you do claim to act in your own interest without regard to others, in other words, holding no other value outside of yourself, you can't act well.
So Christopher. Well, hold on. So Christopher Smith says that's just terminology and not the philosophy. I happen to agree with you, Christopher Smith. I agree. I will defend ad nauseum what Ayn Rand meant by selfishness. I just don't think it's the right word to use. Similarly, when Ayn Rand defines value as that which you seek to gain and or keep, that implies subjectivism. Now, Leonard Peikoff subsequently did a lecture series where he talked about the principle of two definitions, where he identified the same issue I did. Now, Jim Valiant and I had a debate, which I won, because you helped him. But even though Mark helped him, I still won the debate on the issue.
Defeat you in a debate. It was just
if he didn't need your help, then I don't know why you helped him.
I didn't. He had a better argument than yours.
Okay. Anybody that wants to go watch it, go watch it. It's on the Rational Egoist, and you will clearly
see that Michael lost.
You'll see Mark interfere. But in seriousness, my point is only that I disagree with the way she defines value. If we're not in one sense that values are things that we seek to gain or keep, that's what we value. But the idea is to identify what has objective value.
What's normative?
Bias.
Yes. So, yes, there is that aspect to it. So for me, objectivism just means, you hold reality and reason as your arbiters of truth. And those are your standards for truth, reality and reason. And you stick to those, and that is what makes you honest. And when you discover the truth, what the truth is, you hold to it. That's what makes you have integrity. And so that's what objectivism, in a nutshell, means to me. So Ray says, I'm not sure if I can read this. Maybe you might have to read it for me. What do you think, guys, think of the congressional act for releasing the Epstein files and Trump actually signing off on it yesterday? What do you think of that? I think it's bullshit. Doesn't matter.
I'm very disinterested, to be honest. I'm only interested because I know that it bothers Trump, but other than that, I really don't care.
I think it's a play on his part where he's giving the MAGA folks what they want, because it started a schism within the MAGA movement that potentially would break up its unity, which he needs right now. I also think he can delay the release of information that is in any way linked to him through the Department of Justice. There's all kinds of ways he can keep himself out of the picture and not give the Democrats what they're looking for, which is that red meat of, oh, look, Trump was involved in Epstein. Now we can use this against him. It's boring tribal warfare at its worst. It's despicable. I've tuned the entire thing out, Michael, to be honest with you. It's just all cynical political theater to me. Chuck says they give people stuff not for happiness but for control. I agree that that's the end. The result is that politicians end up controlling the people whom they give money to. I think that's the case with anybody. Whoever has the money has the power. It's in your own household too. You're the parent, you support the kid, you have the power over the kid. You have a power over a certain amount of their moral agency. But I do think there are true believers, not just cynics, not just psychopaths. They're there too. They probably are predominant in Washington, but there are also true believers who think that the government really does have a responsibility to redistribute wealth. And they think this creates equity, and they think this creates social justice. They really do believe this bullshit. It's hard for me to understand how they've come this far in life, especially the middle-aged folks who believe this stuff. And lived life to the degree that they have and still buy this, but it's a fact. So I think it's a combination of cynicism, psychopathology, and real true believers out there, unfortunately.
So I just posted the debate I had with Jim on value. I posted it to X, so if anybody wants to go check it out, you can go check it out there.
That's right. Trump is beholden to MAGA. Yeah, I agree with you. MAGA it's now a natural phenomenon.
See, this is where this guy's going to get me wound up now. Christopher Schmidt, I know that's my point, is that Ayn Rand defined value in a sense that made it subjective. She never provided a definition that would align with objective value. That's the problem.
And that's why
I am not conflating anything.
That is why Peikoff had to come up with a normative definition as well. And I think that was an important contribution to objectivism, even though, would you call that objectivism or just
so can you just repeat what you just said, please?
That's why Peikoff had to come up with a normative.
Okay. So the whole debate that Jim and I had was whether Rand supplied the second definition. You just conceded that she did not.
Well, I never didn't concede that point.
You did concede it because you said he won. You just said it
James
again.
Valiant was simply expressing to you that there are two meanings to the term.
No, he was not. No.
Yes.
I posted the video to X.
See, look,
please, everybody go watch it.
James Valiant is going, yeesh.
He can listen, he's
again.
old. He can eesh as much as he wants.
James,
yes, he's old. You are both old men. Here's the problem.
Listen,
anybody can go look.
I can outrun you. I'm older than you. I can outrun you. I can out-wrestle you.
Look.
I can outlift you.
Yes. Look. Rand gave it both.
Old.
Hold on. Look what Jim says here. Rand gave it both. That was what the whole debate was about, Mark.
Okay. Well, then James says Rand gave it both. He has the evidence, I'm sure.
Is he wrong?
I don't know.
You just said you knew 2 seconds ago. And 3 seconds before that, you knew something else.
Peikoff provided the normative definition as well. He gave the two definition concept. Enric says, human agency is for me essential aspect of objectivism, living for one's values and purpose. I agree with you, Enric. Thank you very much for the $4.99.
Christopher Schmidt, if you have Ayn Rand's definition of value that would be for objective value, please post it in the chat here. Go ahead, Mark. Finish up.
What do you think about
equivocating?
What do you think about the psychology of a nihilist? Do they really believe I want to destroy, or is it a motivation that they don't know consciously? Now, we can't psychologize about that. We just had a whole thing about psychologizing, but
we can't.
Really difficult. It's really difficult to know stuff like that. But do you have thoughts about what motivates the nihilist?
No, I don't even like to say the nihilist as if there's just one, monolithic motivation. I don't know about that.
James said he quoted the evidence from Gall.
He didn't. Go watch the episode.
Because of course, he knows probably that entire 80-page monologue by heart, and I don't.
He was there when she wrote it.
And he knows the entire 80-page monologue by heart.
Which makes it all the more horrible that he's wrong about this issue.
Because he knows it and you don't. James, help me here, man.
I'm going to submit this debate to Grok right now and see what Grok says about who won and about Mark's bias.
Christopher Schmidt says it aligns with life as the standard of course. So the value, so it's implicit in the concept of life as a standard and human
Mark,
life.
You're not Mark,
which requires reason.
Mark. Christopher Schmidt is in a conversation with me, and you're taking one thing he says as if it's a standalone and then commenting on it.
I'm listening because you're commenting on his side of the conversation, so I'm getting his side of the conversation through you. Now I'm giving his side of the conversation and catching it.
You're like a drunk uncle, I think.
Good food, purposeful activity, love, friendship, objective values. Heroin, not so much. Yes. Why? Because the standard of value is life as a rational being.
Yeah, we all agree with that. Well, I don't know about us all, but at least us guys. You, me, him.
Grace Jacobson says nihilism seems to describe tendencies rather than a thought process. I don't know about that. You think that? I think some of these nihilists have thought deeply and cynically about life, and they reject a lot of it. They consciously reject it. Some not so much. Just like some people follow the politics of feelings, they haven't really digested exactly what it is that makes them tend in the political directions they tend. I'm sure there are nihilists who just hate blindly and despise life blindly without ever having really set it down to paper what their reasons for such hatred are. But there are some who have consciously made the choice that nothing matters in the world. Nothing matters. That is unfortunate. What's this? Oh, Lee's talking. Steph and Mommy and Daddy are fighting again. Are the guys fighting? Do I have to come over there and beat you? Lee, yes, you have to come over and beat Michael because Michael's the one who's agitated right now. He's been
Michael. I'm actually having a buzz.
He's on too much caffeine at a time when he should not be taking the caffeine at all. Wait, there's another thing here from McDeagle, Mr. Deagle says Jordan Peterson has a good description of nihilists, a person who is angry at God, so he wants to take revenge. Of course, the angry at reality for not having being malleable to their wishes. Now, I buy that. I buy a lot of that, especially with respect to socialists. They don't like the way reality works, so they want to remake it. They don't like the way human nature is, so they want to remake men in the image of their ideal. One of the reasons deontological ethics is so dangerous, in my opinion.
So check this out. Previously, I had asked Grok who won this debate, and Grok said I did. This time it says Jim did. But this is the very interesting thing. Yes, does the moderator, Mark Pellegrino, show bias? Yes, mild but unmistakable bias in Jim's favor. Evidence. He gives Jim repeated extra time. Admits he let Jim go a couple of minutes over. At the end, he openly declares Jim won. He never gives Michael equivalent extra time.
Well, Michael, that's because you didn't take it. You would say you were done. You'd say something, I'm like, I'm done. James wasn't. He was busy backing up his point of view. Don't be upset just because he has the courtroom prowess and he understands that he has to completely back his point of view, and you're a little laconic. Okay, you were just a little laconic in the debate, and that's blaming me for that now.
It's blaming you?
It is blaming me. Look, we have a dearth of questions, so I'm going to go on to the next article from Reason Magazine.
All right.
Are you ready for this, Michael?
I'm going to do two things at once. Go ahead.
No, don't read while I'm talking.
Okay.
You have to pay attention to me.
Which
means eye contact. That's the only way I feel like you're...
What are you, my girlfriend?
Wait, the eye contact isn't happening. Your eyes are not actually present. Your mind.
Next thing you're going to say, hey, dude, eyes up here.
Look, hey, Reason Magazine wrote an article recently on industrial policy, and I thought this was a great title. I want to get your impression of it. There is no such thing as good industrial policy. I love that idea, but Republicans and Democrats keep trying. Break that up for us a little bit, because I think that's a great concept.
So they keep trying, of course, by means of things like tariffs, subsidies, whatever, minimum wage hikes. They want to tweak this thing so as to benefit workers. right? The bottom line is the thing that's good industrial policy is getting rid of taxes and getting rid of regulation. That's it. All this other garbage, tariffs and tweaking and this and that, where they try to play God, is bound and doomed to fail. And by the way, it automatically, the way that they want to do it, violates the rights of some people. It's inevitable.
Indeed, folks, the government should have no industrial policy. They should, the only policy that they should have respecting business and individuals is property rights protection. That's it. The rest of it should be up to us, whom we choose to hire, how we build. All of that should be up to us, because I think we can be trusted to act in our own best interests. And to the extent that those are in conflict with the community around us, well, the community around us can take action too. They can use the courts in order to protect their own interests. We don't need the government to be making policies, and mostly the reason is for the calculation problem, Michael. They simply can't. They simply cannot decide who is going to be a winner and who's going to be a loser. And when they do, they incentivize all the wrong kinds of things. The oligarchs, the cartels that now arise as a result of influence peddling, because the government is the one who really has control over your resources. So there can be no government. There can be no government economic policy, folks. Just liberty and the protection of individual rights and property. Well, it seems that many socialists come from affluent or at least comfortable families. This is true in many cases. The big ideologues do. And Robert has a response to that, yes, which puts the lie to the claim that socialists are envious and want something for nothing. The problem isn't psychology, it's about ideas and philosophy. I only partly agree with that, Michael. I think in some respects, the people who grow up affluent and don't have never had to worry about money simply don't understand what it takes to make money and create values. They feel guilty to some degree, and I'm psychologizing, I know it, but they feel guilty to some degree that life came so easily to them when they see out there other people it did not come easily to. And out of that guilt and anxiety over their own ease, which I think they measure against the altruist ethics, comes their desire to, this performative desire to be good by endorsing things like socialism. Now, down the lower rungs, there are those who simply can't create values as well, or are in some way at odds with the system, who are in fact envious of those who are above them. And so you have the people on the top who are guilty, the people on the bottom who are envious, and in between the two, the decent value producing folks get crushed in order to satisfy the vengeance on the one hand and the guilt on the other. That's my take, folks. That's my take. I could be wrong, because I am psychologizing, and that is a super hard thing to do, and perilous, as we've discussed other times. Michael, do you have an opinion about that?
No, I do not. I think you're largely, well, I didn't really hear what you said. I'm not going to lie. But I do know you pretty well.
What are you doing while I'm talking? Because I know you're looking at your phone the whole
time. I'm multitasking.
You realize if we were on a date, I would walk out on you right now?
What if I agreed to put out?
I'd still walk out on you, because you'd probably be fucking on your phone.
You should see Persephone right now. When I said that, she said, I'm in, just now.
Persephone, he'd be on the phone.
No,
you want somebody on the phone while they're putting out?
I'm multitasking, dude. I got a lot of things going on.
When you put out, you focus on one thing at a time. Putting out is a Zen proposition, man. It's complete.
I'm not on the phone when I'm putting out.
Yes, you are. I have.
How do you know? How do you know?
Get Diane on. Get Diane over here, and let's find out.
Get her over there.
Get her over here on the. Let's see. No, don't do it.
All right.
So Paul says, I agree, Mark, but this influences, if not directly, determines their philosophy and their ideas. Of course, yes. You know, I do think that feelings do have a big part in determining what people eventually gravitate to philosophically, unfortunately, because they're immediate. And Rand asks us to do something that is very difficult, which is to check those feelings which are immediate and see if they're actually true or not. $2 from Robert. Thank you, Robert. Shark equals jumped.
All right. Ray Jacobson, I'm having a problem. What I was actually doing was trying to upload. I'll tell him now. So X has changed this policy race. Evidently, it's not letting me upload the or whatever it is, download the thumbnail. Can you email it to me? Would that be okay? I'll put my email on the screen. That's all right, right? I can put my email on the screen. Who cares? Is that dangerous? I could do it. What the hell do I care? No, she's telling me don't do it. Don't do it. All right, I'm not doing that, Race, but it's not letting me access the thumbnail.
I mean,
I don't know what to do.
If there's commies in the chat, you'll probably get spammed.
Yeah, what the hell do I care? What are they going to do? Steal my ID? You want my ID? Take it.
Put it in
okay, yes, Facebook Messenger. Good idea, Race. You're the man. That's why we keep you around.
And Race, I'm sorry we distracted with and took us down the strange journey of putting out. I don't know where that went. Look, Michael,
you don't know where. I know where it went. I know where it's not going to go. It was a joke. And no matter how much you're getting your hopes up.
Hey, that's what you say. The Mises Institute tweeted something out that you sent to me.
Yeah, I've been arguing with this asshole all morning. This dude that wrote this article. This is the thing. I love cordial civil debates, disagreements. The problem is these dudes are stone cold assholes, right? Like they can't just have a discussion. They got to get into insults. The thing is, what it boils down to, in my mind, like, and you talk about psychologists, guys, and these were the dudes in high school that got their heads stuck in the toilet. And now they feel like they're smart and they're online and they can, be dicks and whatnot. So that's what this dude is basically doing.
Instead, but you know, all it took was one word on my part to Kinsella, and he shut up, and he's never been. Because he knows I'm going to run into him in the circles. We're going to run into each other, and he's sincerely afraid.
We don't really want to, Mark. That's not where we're trying to go with this, Mark.
No. I know. I'm not taking.
But you're doing it anyway. That's not the way to handle these problems.
Started it. I know it's not the way.
I didn't start it,
but it stopped the problem, didn't it? For me, it's
not really. No, yeah, I've seen him say things since then. You just didn't see it because you're too famous. Good. But the bottom line is, I firmly believe these guys. They're educated. They get picked on in high school, and now they get a chance to just be dicks to the world while they're online. I don't feel the need to do that. I try to be cordial. So the guy writes the article that he refers to minarchists, and how minarchists they don't they just want a small version of tyranny. Basically, that's
basically it says as minarchism an antidote for the growing statism and socialism infecting our body politic.
Yeah,
think of it as statism light.
Yes. So he says a state is inherently this and this and this. So I pointed out, when you say the state is inherently X, you're treating the state like collectivists treat the people. Amen. You're acting as if the state is a living entity, a living organism with its own inherent identity, and that it's not made up of human beings with free will. So then I pointed out to him, you mentioned rights. What are rights? Do we have them? Why or why not? What is their purpose? He refuses to answer and instead tells me how much smarter he is than me and tells me I'm out of his league, but doesn't address.
Did you? Of course he is. Did you see what I said to him, Michael?
You said something about that's rich or ironic coming from an anarchist.
No, that was something else. Here's what I said to him. I said, spoken like any anti-gun advocate who thinks things that are potentially dangerous, given the values of their losers, are inherently evil. Anarchists are killing the liberty movement. Like you, Michael, we understand, like capitalists, I think we understand that a government is only as good as the ethics that ground it. That's it. That's all. That it's downstream from ethics ultimately. And if your ethics are collectivist, you're going to get the kinds of horrors that we are seeing now coming to fruition today and in the vast majority of countries around the world. If your ethics are individualistic, rationally egoistic about individual rights, then you would not see these kinds of things. The danger of government is that it is a gun. That's what it is. Like any gun, there's a potential for it to be used for good or bad, depending upon the values of the user. And in this case, depending upon the values that animate the founding documents, the grounding principles of our government. Government is not inherently bad. It's dangerous. Like electricity. Electricity is dangerous. You use it incorrectly, you die. Gas is dangerous. You use it incorrectly, not any kind of gas, Michael, but natural gas is dangerous. You use it incorrectly, you die. You get blown up.
Oh, super sticker.
I noticed the super sticker a long time ago, but we also got a super sticker from Christopher Schmidt. Thank you very much for $2.99. Thank you very much, Paul, for the $1.99 super sticker. We appreciate you guys for supporting capitalism out there, for supporting our voice.
Okay, so Mr. Deagle has a question.
Wait, you didn't respond to my response to the jerk off. That's what I'm going to call it.
What do you want me to say?
How perfect it was.
It's so perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No, you're, of course, Mark, you're absolutely correct. That the idea that government is inherently bad is just not true. It's that simple. It's made up of people, and people can be either good or bad, and it depends on the predominant philosophy. So you're absolutely correct. So Mr. Deagle wants to know if I read his comment on my debate. So Mr. Deagle, if indeed that's your real name, I believe I did, but if I get your comment wrong, then you can tell me. So Mr. Deagle says he views libertarians as evil, and he wonders why I praise them. So let me give you two reasons, because there's two types of people we're talking about. There's these young libertarians who are just wrong. They call themselves anarcho-objectivists. They're steeped in rationalism and intrinsicism. But they're young kids. I mean, they're in their 20s. They're trying to learn. So I'm not going to dismiss them, right? I will mentor them. I will be decent to them. You know, I like them. Then there's the older libertarians that I like. There's Gene Epstein, Sheldon Richman, Walter Block. I think they're wrong. That doesn't mean they're evil. They're mistaken, and they happen to be very nice people. So for that, I praise them. Now, your comment on last night's show, $2 from Holden Mitrione, who still has not gotten us his debate with Charlie Kirk, which I'm dying to see. By the way, and Holden, please, you can correct me now if I'm incorrect, but Holden Mitrione actually changed his position on anarchy after my debates. So contrary to the belief of some, debates sometimes do sway people. Tell me if I'm wrong, Holden. As for the other guy, let me go check the comment so I can see, because he said he left another comment. I'm going to go find it and we'll see what it says. In the meantime, Mark can dazzle us with his wit and good looks.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to point out another article from Reason Magazine. This one got me, man. This one was on immigration. A 79-year-old World War II refugee remains in ICE custody after living in the U.S. for over 70 years. Now, this guy has a bit of a checkered past. He was convicted of, I think, larceny at some point. He spent time in jail for rape. Not a good guy in the very early stages of his life, served his time, but then became an ophthalmologist and actually lived a fairly decent, law-abiding life. I think had a family and kids, of course, and lived it for many years. Now, he had a deportation order against him in the late 60s that never went through. And when he was abiding by current immigration law, and when he checked in October, I believe it was, in accordance with the current immigration law, they decided to hold him based on this deportation in 1968. Now, the problem is he's got no passport. He's an official resident here in the United States, but is not a citizen here of the United States. So he has no country to go to, and now ICE is threatening to deport him, a 79-year-old man, to another country, away from his family. He's got health issues. He's now not able to take his medication because they're not letting him out on bail, even though he's not a flight risk. So the man is stuck in protective custody until they sort out this heinous problem. Michael, here's a guy in many ways similar to you, started out badly when he got into the United States, had a criminal record, but since then lived a decent life, got a professional life with a family, and didn't do anything bad in the future, and is now an old man, sick, by the way. He's had several back surgeries. One of the anecdotes about the guy was that he was left in a cell by himself. Because he can't take his medication for his back surgeries, he's now confined to a wheelchair. One day while in the wheelchair, he fell asleep and fell out of the wheelchair and got a concussion, a mild concussion. And nobody helped him for hours while he was laying there on the ground in a concussed state with a back that's clearly not working in the way it should. This is terrible, Michael. And the article goes on to talk about the percentage of people who actually have criminal records in these ICE sweeps, because the MAGA line is that we're only getting criminals. That's all we're getting. And I want to get the precise numbers from the article because I don't want to misquote them unless you have them at your fingertips.
I do not.
It says 65% of people detained by immigration officials have no criminal record. 65% of the people have no criminal record. Now, these are the people that Trump said he wasn't going to go after. He's going to go after the gang members, the people who were committing acts of violence in neighborhoods. These were going to be the primary sources of the ICE raids. But now we discover that the vast majority of them have no criminal record at all. It goes on to say 95% have no violent convictions. So they may have a criminal record. They may have committed petty larceny. They may be in, some of them, because of the nature of the way the system works, they may be in the black market and trading in drugs and other things that would be considered crimes in the United States, which shouldn't be. But 95%, Michael, have no violent criminal convictions. Now, that's a frightening prospect here. That's frightening. Are you as frightened of this as I am?
I'm disgusted, more than frightened. The whole thing grosses me out. Government, like you said earlier, put it as it's a gun. I say government has guns, slight distinction. But the government is using these guns in the wrong way to use force against peaceful people based on the fact that they weren't born here. That is a serious rights violation. It's a serious initiation of force, and it's seriously disgusting. And I'm quite frankly just sick of it, to be perfectly honest with you.
As am I. And I got to tell you, I love Deepwood Diego's formulation here. He says, the issue is that a lot of MAGA people argue that being illegal is a crime. So they rationalistically justify their hatred for the other by giving them an original sin. I love that formulation. Folks, I'm speaking for the American Capitalist Party when I say we are an open immigration society. We understand that immigrants improve society. You would have to vet, of course, criminals and people with contagious diseases, but anyone else who wants to live and work and better their lives does not only help themselves, they help you. They bring down your cost of living. They make some of these immigrants that come into our countries from terrible situations have invented things that have made your life infinitely better. So we are for the freedom of movement. I mean, look, if Michael, you don't have liberty if you can't move from a bad place to a better place. You simply don't have liberty. If you need to seek permission to move to a country, not to another person's house, not to somebody's private property, which of course you do need their permission, but to a country that's better than another country, and you offer values. It's not like you're a bad guy who's seeking to exploit and parasitize the system. You offer values. You shouldn't need permission from anybody. That's your right as a human being to move from a worse place to a better place. That's simply what people do. It's what they've been doing for years, Michael. When they had economic crises in various parts of the country, what did people do? They moved away from those parts of the countries in search of other work, in search of making their lives better. That's what the Okies did in the 30s and during the Dust Bowl era, when the farmland was left fallow and a drought hit at the same time as terrible political policies. They moved west. And was it easy? No. Was it pretty? No. But they were doing things to improve their lives, which meant picking up stakes and taking them to somewhere else. Now imagine if California said, you can't enter California here. You can't enter California for various arbitrary reasons. then those folks would never have had the chance to improve their lives, as many of them did. What does it say? I think that anti-immigration comes from a lack of personal identity. So they have to get their identity from a group, the other, that is a threat to them. There's a great deal to be said about that. I think it is a collectivist ideal. I think certainly it has to do, identifying yourself nationalistically is certainly a low form of identification. It does mean you haven't really worked on yourself or understand much about what your identity means. Michael, we're over time, so what is your capitalist thought for the day?
My capitalist thought for the day is my capitalist thought for the weekend. One of the benefits of being even relatively free as we are here in this country is that we can go out and have fun, or we can stay home and have fun. We can go out and hang with our friends. We can sit back and watch a movie, watch a TV show, listen to some music, watch a comedy show, whatever. I highly recommend that we not become so serious and so involved with our ideas, our viewpoints, or our struggles that we no longer are able to enjoy life. Once we're done enjoying life, we're done living in any meaningful sense of the term. So please live, love, and have some fun.
And that's capitalism in a nutshell, folks. Live, love, have fun. How strange that we should focus on the positive aspirational parts of life. I guess my question for the day, I didn't really think of a question for the day, so I guess I'll sort of piggyback off of this last thing. Do you think that borders should be open and that people should be able to move across countries, with the exception of criminals and people with infectious diseases? Or do you think there should be even more vetting and controls? And if so, what? Please answer that on YouTube. Please remember to like and subscribe to this station. Remember to watch us tomorrow on Self-Made Soul. We'll be talking about the works of Edwin Locke. And I think you're going to like some of that stuff. We're going to have a discussion, a deep dive on a Jacobin article. Go watch Dave Smith comedy show. Yeah, thank you. You won't laugh. We want you to laugh. And if
Thanks for the $2.
Thank you for the $2. You won't laugh at Dave's show, unfortunately. So check it out though. So watch that, our deep dive into the Jacobin article. We're going to do a Q&A after that. So come to that and ask us anything you want. Also, I'm going to be doing a thing after that on National Treasure. So there's a show that is exclusively about National Treasure, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about National Treasure 2. I was on the show before. We talked about my experiences on National Treasure 1. It was a super fun experience. I just watched National Treasure 2 and actually thoroughly enjoyed the experience. Totally wild ride. I recommend anybody who wants to just have a good time and see heroes doing heroic and impossible things. Go check that out. I also want to give a final shout out to my little baby boy, Frankie. 2 months ago today, he passed. So I'm out here, fighting the good fight despite being sad. So everybody, you have the weekend. You have the weekend to think about life, to think about what you love. And I want you to go pursue that with all of yourself. Until then, you better come tomorrow. But if you don't come tomorrow, we'll see you on Monday. Same bat time, same bat place, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. Check your premises and have peace, my friends.